Hello, my dear curious and studious students of surgery. Myself, Dr. Mahesh Chaudhary. I am warm welcoming you in my surgery lecture series. This surgery lecture series contains entire surgery with anesthesia, with radiology, with orthopedic. So stay tuned with us. Let's start our surgery lecture series. Welcome again, my dear students, in my surgery lecture number 100, that is the benign breast diseases. In this lecture, we will explore the classifications of the benign breast diseases, benign neoplasms of the breast, management of the cyclical mastalgia, cyst of the breast, galactosile, and mammary duct ectasia and its management. All points are covered in this lecture. First, we will explore the benign breast diseases. Benign disorders of the breast were given less importance than the breast cancers. This has resulted in many patients with benign breast diseases receiving less attention from the clinicians. Benign breast disease has also suffered from the major disadvantages of a hopelessly confusing terminology and inadequate classifications. These benign breast diseases can be classified as the aberrations of normal development of inhalation, that is the ANDI, mostly with the cyclical mastalgia. Second is the primary non-cyclical mastalgia, musculoskeletal and cervical root pain, breast lumps, cysts, galactosile, sclerosing adenosis, fat necrosis, cyclical nodularity, chronic abscesses, lipoma. Next is the benign neoplasm, fibroadenoma, phylloid tumor, duct papilloma. Fifth is the disorders of the nipples of the perioral regions, that is the nipple discharging and eversion, mammary fistula, duct ectasia, periductal mastitis, retraction and sepsis. Next is a few non-breast disorders, that is the musculoskeletal teeth syndrome, pain at the costochondral junction. Second is the pain localized in lateral chest wall. Referred cervical root pain may present as a mastalgia, particularly in elderly patients. Now, dear students, here is a good picture of the breast benign tumors. Now, the symptoms. Breast pain and mastalgia is the most significant symptoms in the mastalgia. Breast pain, lumps, disorders of the nipple and perioral region. First is the breast pain. Pain accounts for up to the 50% of the patient with benign breast disease. There are two distinct groups of the patient with the symptoms. With these symptoms, one group of the patient have symptoms which bear a definite relationship to the menstrual cycle. This is known as a cyclical mastalgia. And second is the non-cyclical mastalgia, which is there is no such correlation. That is the non-cyclical mastalgia. Cyclical mastalgia has been described in the section of the aberration of the normal development of the inhalation. Non-cyclical mastalgia has less understood than its cyclical counterpart. It is more chronic, unilateral and located, which is the well localized most painful area of the breast due to the perineural invasion, trigger spot zones, indications, mammography, ultrasonography and FNAC should be performed, and management, analgesic and antibiotic should be started. Now, the aberrations of the normal development of the inhalation, that is the ANDI. Aberrations of normal development of the inhalation ND can account for many, if not all, benign breast disorders. About 2 to 3% of women refer to a clinic with the cyclical mastalgia. Histological evidence of the fibrosis or cyst formation is there. Etiology, the fundamental abnormality being relative hyperestrogenism due to the either increased estrogen secretions of deficient progesterone production. More recently, abnormal prolactin secretions has been incriminated. Other etiology factors include excessive caffeine ingestion or inadequate essential fatty acid intake. There is a good evidence that essential fatty acid supplement that reduce the symptoms of the cyclical mastalgia. Psychoneuroses has been widely incriminated as an important factor. Now, the pathology. Pathology is confusing and there is no set abnormality detected in this condition. Affected area look white and yellow on section and it is a rubbery consistency, which is contains the fibrosis, cyst formation, hyperplasia and papillomatosis. First is the fibrosis. Fat and elastic tissue are replaced by white fibrous tissues, and cyst formation is most oftenly noticed through the size, and the cyst is variable. And the third is the hyperplasia of epithelium lining the duct and the acini may occur. Papillomatosis is sometimes noticed as a papillomatous overgrowth within the ducts. Cysts are usually multiple. One cyst may be palpable, whereas other is the surrounding breast tissue are not palpable. That is simple breast disease. Macroscopically, the lesion is of India rubber consistency and white or yellow in color. This is easily distinguished from the hard, gritty and grayish lesion of the carcinoma. Now, the next point is sclerosing adenosis. Glandular proliferation is 50 distorted by proliferation of fibrous or myoepithelial cells is to lose the normal lobular arrangement. Now, the management of these conditions are management of the cyclical mastalgia, that is the breast support, should be given. Oral contraceptive, danazol antigonadotropin 100 to 400 milligram daily, which depresses the producers of the FSH and LH and ovarian function. Danazol is a synthetic steroid, suppresses pituitary gonadotropin, no inherent estrogenic or progestational activity, reduces the breast pain. Now the side effect of this danazol is the masculinization, development of the male secondary sex characters in the female, voice change, amenorrhea, acne, weight gain and reduction in breast size. This is the side effect of this danazol, which is the synthetic steroid. Prolactin lowering agent, bromocriptine, useful prolactin stimulates. Anti-estrogen drugs, tamoxifen 10 mg daily. Medroxyprogesterone, fertilal, that is the 10 mg daily. High dose of vitamin E should be given. For non-cyclical myasthenia, biopsy from localized tender area. Management of lumpy breast, that is the mammography and sonography. Surgical treatment is excision biopsy, circumvelar incision and submammary incision. Through these incisions, the excision biopsy should be taken. Now the next point is the cyst of the breast. Two types of the classification can be chalked out from the various types of the cyst of the breast. Type 1 is the classification. Two types are there, from the ducts and from the stroma. First, from the ducts, fibroadenosis, usually multiple. Blue dome cyst of blood good, that is the solitary galactosile. Sclerocystic disease of the Brodys, that is the cystosarcoma, phylloids, papillary cystadenoma, intracystic papillary carcinoma, and from the stroma, blood cyst encapsulated of hematoma, in lymphatic cyst, hydatid cyst, colloid degeneration of the carcinoma. And the type second classifications from the mammaryplasia, from the retention cyst and from the tumors. First, from the mammary dysplasia, fibroadenosis usually multiples, cyclical nodularity, blue dome cyst and blood good, usually solitary, sclerosing adenosis. And in the type 2, from the retention cyst, that is galactosile, from the tumors, benign papillary cystadenoma, serocystic diseases of Brodys, cystosarcoma, phylloids, malignant, that is the intracystic papillary carcinoma, colloid or mucinous carcinoma and medullary carcinoma. And miscellaneous types are lymphatic cyst, hydatid cyst and blood cyst. These are the classifications of the types of the cyst of the breast. Lymphatic cyst and hydatid cyst are very rare. The clinical features are seen in the perimenopausal women between the ages 45 to 52 or in the last decade of the reproductive life. Treatment is the mammogram, ultrasonogram in case of the cyst before aspiration is performed, FNAC, excision biopsy and surgical excision. These are the line of treatment. Dear students, here is a clear-cut image showing the cyst, the duct, the lacteals, nipples, areola and the lymph nodes and lymphatic system of the breast. This is the clear-cut ultrasonic picture of the cyst of the breast. Now the next point is the galactosile. Galactosile means the accumulation of the milk and amorphous epithelial debris due to the blockage of a main duct gives rise to this condition. It presents as a subareolar cyst and most seen in patients who have just ceased lactation, discharge from the nipple, milking in the beginning of thick greenish discharge in late cases is quite diagnostic. Treatment is excision of the affected duct is the treatment of choice. As infection and abscess formation, the galactosile is not uncommon. Next is the sclerosing adenosis. Sclerosing adenosis, it is classified as an aberration of the normal development and inhalation of the breast. Terminal duct lobules and myoepithelial proliferation, increased number of the acini and fibrostromal changes. Dear student, this is the picture of the galactosile is clearly seen. Next point is the mammary duct ectasia. A variety of names as a plasma cell mastitis obliterans and the granulomatous mastitis may be compared with this condition. Single dilatation of the larger areolar ducts associated with the periductal inflammation. Due to stagnation, there is a loss of the duct epithelial lining. Discharge from nipple due to the leakage of the secretion through the damaged duct walls. There may be an irritant reaction in the tissue around the duct leading to the periductal mastitis. Nipple discharge in this condition is the unilateral or bilateral. Causes of the nipple discharge is the physiological causes: duct ectasia, duct papilloma, cysts, galactorrhea, fibrocystic disease, carcinoma and idiopathic causes. Dear students, here is the images of the duct ectasia is clearly seen. Another mammogram of the duct ectasia is clearly seen. Types of the nipple discharge. This is the most important features in the disease of the breast, that is the nipple discharge. That is the physiological discharge, physiological galactorrhea, serous discharge, blood discharge, greenish discharge, black discharge, pus and creamy discharge. These are the various types of the nipple discharges. Physiological causes: discharge of the milk is normal phenomenon during the pregnancy and lactation. Galactorrhea, this means the secretion of the milk not related to pregnancy or lactation. Third is the duct ectasia. It is common cause of the nipple discharge. It is often bilateral. Next is the fibrocystic disease or cystic mastopathy, duct papilloma. The discharge is from the single duct. Carcinoma, papillary intraductal carcinoma, or even invasive carcinoma. Cyst nipple discharge is oftenly caused by the cyst. Second, the serous discharge. Physiologically, this may be seen through very rarely after the continuous use of the contraceptive pills. Blood discharge, though very occasionally, blood discharge from the nipple may be seen in the bilateral cases in pregnancy due to the physiological epithelial hyperplasia. Greenish discharge, this is typically seen in the cases of the fibroadenosis. Black discharge, old hood looks black and such blackish discharge may occur. Pus, rarely discharge of pus may be seen only duct nipple, a case of acute mastitis. Creamy discharge, which is a thick creamy discharge, is seen in mammary duct ectasia. Now the management of the nipple discharge located to one duct but not blood stain, then microductectomy should be performed. In case of the blood stain discharge from the single duct, microductectomy. Third is the multifocal or non-blood stain discharge is there, then the mammography should be performed, and in all patients of the 35 years of age, the treatment is cone excision of the major ducts should be performed. And third is the multifocal and non-blood stain discharge. Again, mammography should be performed, and dose of the antibiotic, that is cefotaxime or flucloxacillin, metronidazole administration is recommendation. Then the multifocal and blood stain discharge is there. After the mammography, the duct excision should be called for, and the galactorrhea, if caused by the mechanical stimulation, the ingestion of the drugs, these should be stopped, and if it is due to the proliferating tumors from the bronchogenic carcinoma, these should be treated. Treatment is the microductectomy. Excision of the major ducts, that is the Hatfield's operation, should be performed. Nipples inversion and retraction is the another entity in the breast diseases. Nipple inversion, the term nipple inversion and retraction, though have been seen in the interchangeably, yet there is a definite distinction. Nipple inversion means the congenital failure of the eversion of the nipple during the development. Nipple retraction means a secondary process in which the nipple is retracted, which was the normal before. The nipple was normal before. Now the treatment is the mechanical suction device or a surgical eversion can be made. First is the nipple retraction. The nipple retraction of recent origin, not congenital, is usually caused by one of the three conditions. First is the duct ectasia, carcinoma, and post-surgical retraction. The first one is the duct ectasia, that it is usually a slit-like retraction of the nipple or lineal transverse defect. In the early stage, it is possible to do digital eversion. Through a later stage, it becomes more and more difficult. And in the carcinoma, nipple retraction is a circumferential retraction of the nipple, and usually a mass is detected in the breast. Third is the post-surgical retraction. Indigenous surgery and an ugly periauricular defect may cause and retraction is inexperienced hands. Treatment is, in case of the nipple retraction due to the duct ectasia, the treatment is Hatfield's operation. In case of the carcinoma associated with the nipple retraction, the case should be treated according to the type of the breast carcinoma. Cracked nipple is the another point, mostly occurs during lactation. It indicates the possibility of developing acute infective mastitis, chance of chancre of the nipple. It is now an extremely rare condition, almost seen. Dear students, here is the end of our surgery lecture number 100, that is the benign breast diseases. Thank you.